Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is the daily reading for Wednesday, the 1st of May. How on earth did that happen? 2019. Absolutely extraordinary. 7 weeks or so, less than 7 weeks to midsummer. Look at how it was winter last week. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. 3-card major arcana reading, possibly with some clarifiers. We'll see how it goes. Then 1 from the swords, 1 from the wands, 1 from the pentacles, and 1 from the cups. So, ooh. Oh, one more. Oh, right, you know what? I'm having that. It's the Tower. Okay, I'm going to cut and get the other 2 cards. Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, Chariot in the reverse. Well, yesterday we had the Chariot in the upright in this position. Oh, it's a twisty, turny thing. Right. Okay, well, yesterday was about the sort of the bulldozer energy of the Chariot. We don't need that today because we got the Tower, which is kind of bulldozer of natural forces and gravity acting on the construction motivations of humanity. There we got the bolt of lightning coming from the blue, and everything we've built up. Look at my lovely tower. Look how powerful and functional I am. Rubble. Rubble. Heyo. Alright, I'm just going to take a moment to pull the rest of this together. Okay, well, it all feels like bad luck, really, basically. And it kind of is. I mean, it is just bad luck. You know, you build your tower, you've got all your kit in there, all your power, your tower of power. And yeah, like it's like a bloody Norman watchtower, isn't it? This will mean something to you if you're in England or Britain. When the Normans came here, when they finally decided to stop messing about with sort of kings of English people being kings of bits of France and queens, and French people being kings and queens of bits of England, it's just like, oh, you know, sod this. Right, let's just go out. Let's just go and get it. Let's just go and get it. Let's just go and take over. And they did. They did. Nearly 1,000 years ago. And there was basically an ethnic cleansing and a complete takeover of the politics, the economics, the land ownership, the language, all of it was taken over. And they built countless of these towers all over the place where they could basically observe the entirety of principally southern England and make sure that their will was being done. William's will. William the Conqueror. And that's what the Tower of London is. I mean, basically, it was like Guantanamo Bay. It was the Guantanamo Bay of its day, or the Abu Ghraib of its day, and appalling things went on in there. I went to the Tower of London. It's strange, I was actually brought up in London, but I visited very few of its big sites because I lived there. And I did go sometime in the last decade to actually visit the Tower of London for the first time. And I stood by what's known as Traitor's Gate. And Traitor's Gate is an old kind of grille that can be raised and lowered at the bottom of the structure, where it goes straight onto the River Thames. So they would bring you in a boat towards the tower on the river, and they get to Traitor's Gate and they would winch up the gate and you would sail in, and basically that was it. That was, you're finished. You are Norman toast. You're French toast. And I remember standing there when we went to visit and looking down at it, and God almighty, it gave me the chills. I thought, I wonder if in a former life I was I was brought through that. I found it absolutely terrifying. Anyway, tower, bosh, bish bash bosh. There you go. You think you got it all sorted out, and bolt from blue. Didn't see that coming. Got to start all over again. So that's the energy we're coming into the reading with, and that in itself is going to kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily put a brake on the chariot energy that we had yesterday, but it's going to, I would say, perhaps change the surface over which the chariot is moving. So, for example, if you're in this big heavy chariot with its iron bolted wheel rims, can you see that? Can you see the wheel rims there? Look at that. I mean, bloody hell. And we've got the laurel wreath down there, that I guess the person who used to rule this territory before he came along and took over, that laurel wreath was worn by the former ruler. It's now lying in the dust, about to be crushed by the chariot. Anyway, that chariot is going to roll fine over a compacted, flat surface. I mean, there might be a few kind of little like rocks and stones around it. It's just going to like roll straight over them. But it's going to have difficulty rolling over hummocky grass and kind of little kind of mossy hillocks. It's going to have difficulty rolling over that, and that's what I'm getting from this reading. That the ground under our feet, as we make our progress through whatever it is that we're doing, the ground has changed, the territory has changed. The nature of what we are walking over has changed, and it's happened quite quickly. And that does happen sometimes. I mean, geography is a really, really interesting thing. I actually wanted to study it at school, which was extraordinary because there were very few things at school I actually wanted to study. Physics was one and geography was another. But they wouldn't let me because I think they said it wasn't academic enough. Silly buggers. Anyway, geography can change really quickly. You can be walking on sand and suddenly you're on grass. You can be walking on rocks and suddenly you're in the water. There are edges. There are distinct edges. Not all change happens gradually. A lot of it does. Possibly even the majority of it does. I don't even know if I'd go that far. There is sudden change. There is that you can't see coming. There we got the tower. There is gradual change that you don't see happening because it's so gradual, and there's stuff in the middle that you can actually sort of detect. And I'm getting a real push-pull today between these. There's something to do with the nature of change. Tarot, Oracle of Change. So the ground has changed under our feet from yesterday to today. Fine. What's holding us back today? The veil, the obscuration, that which is clouding our vision. It's the Wheel of Fortune in the reverse, and today for me it is somewhat significant that it's in the reverse. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's a wheel. Who can say which way up it is? It is supposed to be. The very nature of it, it doesn't have a right side up and a wrong way up, or else it wouldn't be a wheel and it wouldn't function as such. We feel it's gone against us. We feel like it's bad luck. We feel like the universe is out to get us. All that has happened is that what we are walking over is different today from what it was yesterday. It's not personal. Okay, that's the message suddenly of this reading. It's not personal. There's nothing personal about that lightning. All right, it comes when it comes and it just does what it does. It's not waiting up there for you to build your tower and then go, ha ha ha, look, they've built their tower and they're all like secure in their tower of power. Let's knock it down, teach them a lesson. Ha ha ha. No, completely impersonal. It's not personal. And this, sitting in the middle of the reading, is taking it personally. Ain't going to help today. Right, one from the Swords. King of Swords. Well, he don't take it personally. he don't take anything personally. He doesn't have to. He's that powerful. He wields that sword of thought, word and deed, but especially thoughts and words. He doesn't need to sort of wonder whether what's being said to him is kind of something he needs to worry about, or are they plotting to sort of push him off his throne? No. Absolutely secure in thought, word and deed. Even thoughts and words. Even I would say a bit, there's an austerity about this. And I think this could be, and I'm not talking about kind of economic austerity, that's just one form of austerity. The biggest lie that the rich ever told to the poor. We need austerity. Yeah, sure. Anyway, I shall try to keep the politics out of it. The austerity of this figure is that he's not swayed by thoughts of good luck and bad luck. He doesn't take it personally. That's the kind of austere, absolutely nuts and bolts grit thinking that will help us today. We're back in the sort of like shit happens and shit happens to everyone, and the important thing is how we respond to it. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to get another one on this, on the Chariot in reverse, because I find it interesting that it's turned over since yesterday, and I want to get a little bit more on taking the shit that happens in a way that can help us. Okay, sorry guys, I've got Justice in the reverse. So more sense of it being wrong. Right. Well, again, it's not personal. Now, sometimes wrongdoing affects us. It affects our lives ostensibly for the worse, because it's wrongdoing. Yes, what I'm getting today is that, oh my God, hold on a sec. I'm just trying to kind of pull this together, this idea together. There is wrong. There is right and there is wrong. I struggled for a long time to accept what I now have accepted as the fact that evil does exist in the world. It does. And I didn't want to go there. For the longest time, I didn't want to go there. And in the end, I had to take it on the chin. There was such a thing as evil, and sometimes people do it. The message I'm getting, and that's what I'm getting here in the Justice in the Reverse, but it's not personal. Someone who will do evil towards you is only doing it towards you because you're there. It's nothing to do with you. The evil actions of others are absolutely 100% their own stuff. The reason evil affects us is, as I say, because we are there. That's all it takes for an evil person to hurt you with their wrongdoing, is that you be there to receive it. It's not personal. They'll do it to anyone. It's nothing to do with you. And that in itself, that acceptance, is a kind of austere kind of acceptance. Yeah, and in a way, when someone's done us wrong, here, Justice in the Reverse, when someone's done us wrong, it can be really tempting to sort of look for a narrative wherein it was something to do with us, i.e., it's kind of not totally their fault. It was something that we did. And it's a way of trying to absolve others by saying, well, maybe if I had said da 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 da, or maybe if I'd done da 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 da, or maybe if I'd worn a green t-shirt that day instead of a red t-shirt that day, they wouldn't have done that dreadful thing to me. No. It makes no difference. People who want to do evil will do it to you. Whatever you do, all you have to do is be there. They will be evil to a teacup if it's there in front of them. It's nothing to do with you. And there's a cutting off of responsibility here. A cutting off of responsibility. I'm seeing it in this sword and I'm seeing it in this sword. The only downside to that is that you have to admit to yourself, and look how interesting, we've got card number 7, card number 8, both in the reverse. You have to admit to yourself that evil does exist within the world, and that in itself can be very maturing. Because before you accept that, you want to try and explain everything and make everything okay. Some things cannot be made okay. They are just pure bad. But as I say, it's nothing to do with the one to whom the bad is done. But the thing to look out for is that the one doing evil towards you will always, always, always take the opportunity to spin a narrative wherein it is your fault. That's another one to watch. Okay, now we've been in these early wand cards for several days now. We had this several days ago, and then we moved on to the 3, and then we moved on to the 4, and now we're back to the 2. So there's a kind of feeling of step out, oh, no retreat, oh, step out, oh, no retreat. And yesterday we had a wonderful 4 of Wands. At least we've come back to an even number today. And clearly there's been some forward motion and we've had to put a foot on the brake and kind of move back, or we have put a foot on the brake and moved back. But by God, what a contrast. When we get going again, these swords, this sword in particular, is going to serve us so very well. But yeah, we've taken a step back from the 4 that we got to, and we've jumped right back over the 3, and we're back to the 2. So there's a bit of a reappraisal going on. No bad thing. We are at least armed with the sword. Okay, Three of Pentacles. So this is about, in this reading, Three of Pentacles in this reading is to do with how things work between people, about collaboration and about responsibility. You know, none of us is operating completely in complete isolation. And I get the feeling that the mason here doing his work would really quite like it if he was left alone to just get on with it. But he's got the merchant. Oh, here's a cat. Can you hear him? Hello. Ow. 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 He's coming. It's raining. He's a black cat. He looks like Sid Vicious when he's been out in the rain. We got the merchant and we got the monk. The monk has sort of commissioned the work and the merchant's paying for it. And I think this dude would just rather be left alone to get on with it. But again, this is about who is responsible for what. And oh no, I'm going to finish up the reading. I'll go and dry him off. Who's responsible for what? When shit happens, Tower card, and it's a kind of a multi-person, multi-agency shit happening, which almost all shit happening is multi-agency. There are then inquiries to be made about who was responsible for which bit. That's what this reading is all about. There's a redrawing here of notions of responsibility, but we are much, much strengthened by the sword here in the King of Swords. And as I said earlier, this feeling of it being personal, it's bad luck, kind of special bad luck just for us. Okay, this is really not going to help today. As I said, when wrong is done, it is done by the wrongdoer. And the best thing you can do is just not be there to receive it. Hello, I'll be out in a minute. Right, we've got the Five of Cups. Okay, what I'm seeing in this Five of Cups today is the grief that accompanies the realization that not all bad action can be put down to unhappiness. The temptation is always there when someone has damaged our well-being by choice, by their own choice, to say to ourselves, oh, they can't help it. You know, they had a bad upbringing, they had a bad childhood, they can't help it. It's just kind of, you know, if they'd had a better start in life, or, you know, if they were happier, they wouldn't behave this way, and it can be a thing of terrible mourning and grief to take on board the fact that we are not here to explain away our bad actions by referring to our unfortunate past. We are here to transcend our bad actions by moving into a more responsible future. And I'm getting the feeling here even that these cups lying on their side here have actually been kicked over by this person in sort of frustration and anger. And, you know, perhaps that's understandable. And I think this person who has kicked over these cups and just in sheer sort of bloody hell, how can this shit happen? Well, it did. The cups have gone over, the drink is spilt, and I think this person knows full well that there are two upright cups that still hold the fluid of emotion and the nectar of life. and that given a bit of time to pull themselves together, they will turn around and pick those cups up, drink from them, and continue on their journey over the river of emotion and over that bridge into the new land. So the challenge of this reading today is to draw the distinction between the impersonal visitation of bad luck, the personal pseudo responsibility for the bad behaviour of others, and the realisation that all that is necessary for you to be hurt by badly intentioned people is that you be around to receive it. Right, I'm going to go and dry off the cat. He's so sweet, and give him some food. So I've got rather dodgy internet today, so I don't know how long this is going to take to load up, but by the time you're watching it, it's uploaded, so I don't need to say that, do I? Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon for another reading. Bye bye.